All right, well, good to have you guys here. We got a lot of people who showed up. Sounds like more than last month, but I wasn't able to be here. I was out of town climbing Angel's Landing. A lot of fun, good times. At any rate, glad you guys made it out. Also, this meeting tonight is also being simulcast on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Isn't that right, Trevor?
Yes.
And anything else? Just on YouTube.
Just YouTube.
Okay, it's on YouTube channel. Very good. Thank you, Trevor, for setting all this up, getting us going. And also, I can never forget Heath Stevenson here, the guy who's made all this possible, our room, the AV, everything here, thanks to him. I'm going to give him a clap. He is the Orem City Emergency Manager, and he's our sponsor of our club, and that's why he makes us possible. So thank you, Heath. All right, let's move on. I did a bad thing. I forgot my clicker, so I'm going to have to rely on my finger to do this. Let's see if it works. Oh yeah. So first up, we have Dr. Carl.
I knew that was going to happen. All right. Just a couple of quick announcements here. The 76ers group always has an ice cream social every year. Hit the down button, that's right, I always gotta hit that. Ice cream social, Saturday, September 18th, 1 o'clock. That's at the Liberties here in Orem. And I guess it's over by where the Village Inn used to be or whatever. Anyway, so we do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. We try to make it late enough that you get your morning chores done and early enough that you can still take your wife out or whatever, so, and pick up on your ice cream in between. Was there something else supposed to be? Oh, it says ugly,
Is there a time?
1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I'm trying to make it so give you time to eat lunch if you wanna eat lunch too, so. Anyway, wow, a couple of announcements here I didn't know about. The ugly antenna contest we've been hearing rumors about for the last, 9 months? It keeps getting postponed and relocated. I guess that's still looking for a date and a location. That's still in the mix. So if you're working on your ugly antennas, keep thinking about that one. 76ers Santa Net. That's way out in December, but we still do that Santa Net on December. That will be the Christmas Eve and Christmas Eve. And we usually do it 2 nights. And if there's any nets, that's Wednesday the 22nd. So that'll preempt the 76ers net that night for the Santa Net. That's always been a big hit. It usually goes for maybe not quite an hour, and they get as many kids as they can in there, and some adults too. So it should be a lot of fun. That's all I have. I did want to make one other unauthorized announcement. There is an antenna up here that's going to be given away tonight, but somebody Saratoga Scott requested me make one, so for tonight, so I made 6, and so there's some available. See me after the.
He's using Common Core math.
Ouch. Thanks for that, Scott. Anyway, one other thing is I did change my website, not my website, my email address, because I was getting so much spam on that. I had to get rid of it. So it's now omgantennas@gmail.com. That's omgantennas, spelled out one word, @gmail.com. If you got any requests for antennas, get on my list that way. omgantennas@gmail.com. Yeah.
Is there swap meet?
Swap meet. Somebody else has probably got that announcement. I don't. He says they do. It's probably windy. Hit the down button. Oh, I'm unauthorized to do that.
Alright, so we are going to be having a swap meet at Utah Valley Swap Meet on Saturday, September 9th, 25th, sorry. Half of my brain is just getting, coming back to my head. So if you want to know more information, it has location, maps, how to get it, and all the information you might want or need. Okay, so that's the Utah Valley Swap Meet. Spanish Fork.
Questions?
Yes, question.
Comment, I should say?
Oh, yes.
I know a lot of us are on multiple nets around the counties, in multiple counties, in multiple ways, on multiple frequencies. This is a fundraiser, right? Mention that on your nets in the next week or two, and try to get as many people out there as we can.
Send it to your neighborhood groups, send it to your community newsletters or whatever you can get out. We can have a good crowd. We can pick up all kinds of fun, interesting things. Okay? Okay. And the Christmas potluck is Thursday, December 2nd at the Orm Friendship Center, which is around the corner from here. I'm so excited. It's a great time. We will have more information coming as the dates get closer, but 6 o'clock. We have a lovely dinner and maybe we'll even have games. Anything else? Oh. KW3NDY.
Thanks, Wendy and Carl. Clap, clap, clap. All right, on a personal note, we do want to congratulate these new and for some reason, we did not get a lot of new ham radio licensees, but these ones are here. If any of these people are here, please stand up so you can see your face, throw something at you, or invite you at least to this club meeting, and you're not here. Okay, well, welcome. And we have one person who upgraded. Keith Driscoll upgraded to his extra. So anyway, there we go. Clap, clap, clap. All right, now the moment you've been waiting for.
Dessert?
This is dessert. Now, managers.
All right, so as we're getting this switched over, our current presidency, don't switch it yet. Our current presidency, Noji, Vice President Chad Butters, Secretary Karen Alcorn, Activities Wendy Shoup, and Technology Trevor Holyoke. I would like to thank our presidency. They have done a bang-up job during this COVID, pandemic, whatever you have it, and they try to keep things going, so thank you. Clap, clap. All right, now, we have to do elections. It's part of our charter. We have to have them. Our current presidency is running and nobody else. So we really need a yes or no vote. So if you take your phone, go to this QR code. It'll log in. You need to log into your Gmail account or whatever, and then vote yes or no. If you don't have a phone, paper ballots.
I ain't gonna do that.
You just need one person to vote, right? I just need some.
I'm not a member.
You're too. You're official member.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you are.
Noji said I'm not a member.
Well, I am not sure on Android. I thought I had an app that was
Well, there's this whole thing about privacy.
What about that?
Same thing.
If you want to do paper, you can do paper.
You can vote twice in a real election. Presidential election. Go ahead.
Except I'm watching. Oh,
If you can vote, if you can vote twice,
yeah, but I'm watching now to invalidate your vote. All right, has everybody had a chance to vote?
Not yet.
You got all this.
It's just to make sure you only get one vote.
What are they doing?
It's presently constituted.
Somebody else gets it. What about the other one? That's so good.
All right, here's what we're gonna do here. So, while Al is counting the votes and things, he's gonna leave this QR code up on the screens, and so that way, if you can't get a good shot of it, or you can't figure out how to log into your Google account, you can walk up to the screen, take a photo, and so forth. Meanwhile, we're gonna move on with our program, which is a presentation. And then at the end of that, then we'll go ahead and tally up the counts, and then Alma will announce the winner. Anyway, so. Question?
I would just like to say thank you for being willing to do this for another year.
Well, we aren't, well, thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, I'm gonna move on to this presentation. Come in, what?
Well, I've got one.
We know. All right.
I think there'll be five.
All right, there you go. So we have had two very expert amateur people come and give us presentations on grounding. And they've told us a lot of really good things, valuable stuff that we can use for grounding. And yet still people inundate us with questions about grounding. It seems like maybe they don't quite have it in their mind. They don't have a picture of how it works. And so because grounding, you can do so many different things with it in order to do grounding properly. And I'm all about grounding properly for two different reasons. One is because of the legal reason. The NEC, which is the National Electric Code, demands that you, if you have an outdoor, and that's what we're talking about, just a rooftop antenna, not one that's in your attic, one that's in your house, but on your roof. When you have an antenna out there, it must be grounded. And so I'll show you how to do that. And I'll demonstrate, I brought my own antenna and ground it with me. So here it is. There you go. See, so there's my antenna up there. I got it to U-bolt it to a mast. There it is, huh? And I got the coax coming out there. See, it's got nice wrap there on that structure seal. Anyway, coax is all set up there by my RF choke right in the antenna. And then the coax goes right here through a surge protector, which some people like to call a lightning arrestor. I don't like to call it that because it's a little bit of a misnomer, but anyway, so there you go. And it goes through here and into your radio. And this little PVC is pretending to be your house wall. So it's going into the wall of your house. And this is what we call a ground plate. So you should probably have a ground plate mounted on your wall or on your desk in some way so that you can have other things connected to it. You know, my wife made a suggestion, I forgot all about this, but so you had a great good idea of actually putting wires into these little holes so you can see the wires coming out, because those wires then will connect to things that use AC, such as your amplifier, your power supply, a tuner, whatever, you know, that might use AC. But those things will connect the grounds into this. So this ground plate then becomes your ground inside your house. And see, now it's bonded, there's this big honking, 4-gauge bare copper wire that's coming into the house, from my ground rod. This is my 8-foot ground rod. It's deceptively short, but hey, there it is. And so what it indicates is that I've got these, yeah, this J-Pulse works wonders, you know, but it's an abbreviated version. This is the Papyrus Mini. So, yeah, so I've got this 4-gauge wire coming clear from the roof, that's tied to this cold water clamp on the base of this mast. The mast is metal, this is metal, everything's all metal, so it's all bonded together. And that's what we want is if there's any discharge on this thing, this is gonna collect it, it's gonna take it right down to ground, and that's the purpose of this thing. So it comes down here, connects onto this ground rod. And this little piece right here, just to illustrate, this continues on to your service. In other words, your electrical service, that's on wherever part of your house that is. So you want to continue this thing on, and if the electrical service is more than like 12 feet away, then put another ground rod like this in between here and your electrical service. Bond it to that, and then continue on to get to your service. So that's the proper way to do it. So this is properly grounded. You know, am I gonna survive a lightning strike with this? Well, maybe not, but you know what? This is not designed to take a full-blown, 3 billion amp. So what this is gonna do is drain and divert a lot of static buildup on your antenna. And a nearby lightning strike, so lightning is gonna strike your neighbors before it's gonna hit you, okay? And when it does, chances are you're gonna be safe because all that static buildup will be drained off by your little thing here. See? So if you wanna buy this, no, this isn't for sale. Anyway, so I encourage you to put, I did this so that you can see that this is properly put together with all the parts. That's necessary. I've got 3 cold water clamps on this. So there you go. And that's pretty much it. Just want to mention that there are 3 different kinds of manufacturers of surge protectors that you should get that I really trust. Okay, this one's Alpha Delta. Polyphasor is another one that's really trusted. I also trust the who's doing the thank you so much. So and then the third one is Morgan. Morgan also makes a really, really good surge protector. And again, there it is. So what it's for is that your cable is going to go through this thing, and it's interrupted by this guy here, so that any charge buildup will get grounded through this guy. There's a little gas cap inside here that if you open it up, you can see that there's a little connection. It's kind of like really, really close connection, so that the ground is almost touching the wire going through. Question mark?
The first three companies you said, what was the first?
So Alpha Delta.
Okay.
And Polyphasor and Morgan. Those are the ones I trust the most. There are others, and some of them are pretty good. There's a European company, I can't think of their name right off the top of my head, and they're pretty good too, but I don't know them. But yeah, Polyphasor, Alpha Delta, and Morgan are the ones that I trust the most here. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Noji.
Sir.
Noji, another question.
Comment.
Questions are fine.
Location of the surge suppressor, is that critical anywhere along the coax?
So the question is the location of the suppressor critical anywhere on the coax? And the answer is yes, and it must be connected right. In fact, that's actually, according to NEC 810.15, that has to be attached right to your ground rod. Okay, so it needs to be bonded right there on your ground rod. And that's what this is doing here. So there's my surge protector / and it's sitting here right there bonded right on my ground rod. And that's where you want it. It's just as close as you can. You want to avoid putting this thing like inside your house, if at all possible. There are times when you might not be able to avoid that, and I admit that, okay? Just do your very best. And if you can't avoid it, well, that's all we do. As hams, we just do our best. But this is more ideal. This whole situation is like the ideal setup, except for the size of the antenna.
Noji.
Carl, and then David.
Just a comment on the plate. I do a plate thing too, very similar to that, except for at Home Depot.
Yeah.
In the plumbing department, they have copper strips about yay long that have a series of holes in them. And miraculously, some of those holes are exactly the size of barrels for the various, you might have multiple antennas like Noji does. And you can put barrels right, and the holes are already in it, and I mount it right there in my shack, so I've got connections right to it, and I've done my service like you did on it, to put the various ground wires from various devices.
Oh, that's
But they
really
make them, they're already stamped out with all the holes in them and
See,
everything.
I couldn't find that when I went to do this project.
Yeah,
Okay, they were out of those copper things. I looked at those, they were out too, so it's like the work done, everybody beat me to it. But
they're hard to find, they're like on a bottom shelf, and they're very hard to find, and they're not expensive, but they're pure copper.
I appreciate that, Dan.
Are you talking about the straps, the copper strap?
Yes.
Because I just cautioned people, they require a certain amperage that that bus bar is able to handle, and the regular copper straps are not thick enough.
You need your 3.
You need something, you need a bar. Or that one has a lot of surface area.
So there
that's
was
good.
a big copper sheet that they had at Home Depot. That's about, I'd say about 8 inches wide and about 1.5 feet long. And I was looking for that, and they were out of those. So if it's the same thing Carl was talking about, then I agree, but if it's not, then maybe I've got,
Yeah,
I'm thinking of something different.
People have those, they use those straps to hang up copper pipe.
Yeah.
That is not what you should be using.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that, because that's more for a different purpose. The copper strap for like your radio. Thanks, good. Anybody else? Now you can play the crickets. Wendy,
I'm slow because I have had a full brain. Go
no
through,
problem.
go through the step of what is on your pipe from top to bottom. So you've got your antenna.
Uh-huh. Antenna's mounted here, there's
To
my,
what?
so the antenna is U-bolted to the mast. This mast is just a top rail, that's all I did. I got a top rail at Home Depot, I just cut it off, whatever. And then, there's my U-bolt there. The U-bolt is made for this guy. It's a 1-inch pipe.
Okay.
And, yeah,
Why
where
do
you
you
go?
have so many circles of coax?
This is an RF choke, and
How many do you need?
typically for 2 meters, this is substandard, but for 2 meters, if you do about 6 inches in diameter and about 6 turns, that's about right for 2 meters. And I wrote that up in our last newsletter, so you can kind of see how to do that and why you need it and so forth.
Okay, and then what you've got, how do you have the mast connected to the copper pipe? I can't see from that.
Okay,
That's not meant to be real, that's just.
oh, this is very real. But you're right, it's not exactly, you don't want this on your house. So the mast is connected to the wire, the ground wire by this cold water clamp. So the wire goes through the clamp and the clamp clamps around the mast, just like that.
Take a picture.
It's because electricians like to use these things to connect to your cold water line for your ground inside your house. They do use it that way.
Yeah, there we go, there we go.
Surge protector.
That's right,
And then this goes.
to your radio. So this goes into your house. This is my walls of my house here.
Great door.
This goes to your power.
That's right, what will the service?
Your power
The
service.
utility. So your power company utility, like your meter,
So it connects to the house.
What is
ground?
make one of these?
to the service ground, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have power coming into your house from the utility company, right? So on that panel that you have, okay, there's a hunk of ground right there that's connected right to the dirt.
You'll see another rock. Rock, usually a rock right below.
And so you want to bond this, connect this to that service panel ground.
Okay.
That's what it means.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
No, what about the plates?
Yeah, this is called a ground plate, and this should be inside your shack. This is a house wall, so this is inside your wall. This could be on your wall, or it could be flat on your table somewhere. But it's one common place where you can ground your equipment. So I've got these different screws here, and I should have put wires so you can see the wires going to different things. Okay, all right.
Are they tower wires or ground wires?
These are all ground. Everything here is ground.
It goes to the plate.
That's right. The only part right in the whole thing is not ground is the signal through the coax. That's it. Everything else is pure ground. All right. Okay, go ahead. Yes, please.
Have a ground connected inside my house.
Yeah.
There is no ground on the outside. Would it be bad in the eyes of the NEC to drive a new ground and connect it to the service box outside as well?
So what I would do in that case is that I would bring the rods around your house, just like we're describing here, and then you can find one place where you can actually bring that into your house and connect it to your service ground. It's like, drill a 3-inch hole through your wall, okay? But yeah, find some way to get that ground rod inside. It should already be bonded. It's just that your whole system needs to be bonded together. That's the whole point, and that's required.
And I was hoping to put it right next to the service entrance, which is on the opposite side of the house.
So that service entrance, if you look at the box, you should see that there's a 3-inch pipe that goes straight to the ground. Okay, that is grounded. And you can actually tie this. In fact, that's what I do in my house, is this wire right here is actually going under, this is underground, by the way. So this is underground, goes right to my service box, it comes up and it ties right onto one of the clamps.
How far down should you bury your 4-gauge?
So what I do in my house is this 4-gauge is all buried 3 inches, if it's not buried at all, it's not a terrible thing. It's not required to be buried. But if you look at, there's an AAR book called Grounding and Bonding for the Radio Amateur, and it says you really should bury that. So, and I go by that because it's good advice, because you're giving more surface area to the charge coming from the cloud. That's all you're trying to do. That's right, more dissipation, more surface area. Yes, sir.
The closest I could get a ground rod to my shack would be about 30 feet.
Okay.
Should I seek another solution, or will that work out?
Negative. You should put several ground rods between your shack and the service.
The closest I could get to the ground to drive a ground rod in.
Oh, so for a rod at all? Okay, well, the best you can do is the best you can do. Sometimes it's very difficult, and as a matter of fact, I think what you're up against is you've got concrete in your way, is that right?
Well, it's on the second story.
Oh, okay.
And in the middle of the house.
Oh, that's not a problem at all. So, if you're on the second story, the thing is when you're up high like that, okay, then your ground rod, your ground wire going up there can actually be at a resonant frequency too, on HF, and it'll actually be counterproductive in some ways, but it's still required, okay? So we're not talking about an RF ground, we're talking about, safety ground. That's what we're talking. So that would work just perfectly in your second story thing. If you got concrete in the way, which is what I thought you were talking about, then that's a bigger problem. And some people like to go to a UVARC ground. I don't recommend you do that. So anyway, and that's not what you're saying. So, okay. Anybody else? Go ahead. Yeah, Paul.
So I bought the nice ground at Home Depot, and I've got this big old pounder, and I live here in Orem. And guess how far I got before I hit my first rock? And then the second rock, and then the third rock, and then the process came to a complete halt at 4 foot.
Okay.
And I talked to a friend who's an electrician, and I said, what am I gonna do? I cannot, and I actually pulled it out of the ground.
Wow.
Which was quite a trick, and tried a second spot and a third spot. I never got beyond the 4 foot. And he said, if you really have to, cut the rod in half right at that spot.
Sure.
And pound another rod within about a 6-inch radius around it. He said, if you have two of them that are super, super close, and you use a cold water pipe that kind of just, you can really crank down, and a real thick piece of copper wire between them, like a cord, that if they were close enough, he thought that would be within code for him as an electrician.
Okay, I don't know anything about the 6-inch thing. I've never heard that. But if you do shorten your rod, which is totally doable, then you need to put more rods between you and the surface. Okay. However, what I would actually recommend for you to do is put it at an angle.
I think in the grounding book, I think they talk about making a trench
Yes.
and actually laying the rod
Yes.
down in the trench.
But you can put it, if you really have to, lay it
You
down.
can water it down or piss on it to sink it down or whatever.
Right. So Carl's saying that if you have to, you can dig a trench and just lay it down sideways. That was like a last resort though. If I were you, I would try to put it and drive it down at an angle. And then we'll get more surface area from your rod inside the dirt. And that's within code too. So.
Anything is better than nothing.
That's right. It almost says anything is better than nothing. And he's so right about that. When you're talking about all the static discharges you're building up, and if you recall some of these lightning strikes we had a few days ago, yeah, it's better than nothing. Okay, the man in front.
I actually used a copper water pipe once and stuck a hose thing up above the water hose.
Cool.
And it's like you could just kind of tap it down easily for the most part.
So Richard said that he or she used a cold water pipe to tap
You have
tap
an
it down.
internal connection with the ground as well as an external. So,
Yeah, every time I try that, I get very far because I'm just not strong enough to drive that thing.
well, that's what the water's for.
Yeah. How do you get past the rocks?
Hey,
That's a
if
fun.
you were something besides a club, a president, you'd know things like this.
That's true. And so I agree with you. Like Alan was saying, something is better than nothing. This is why I need to be unseated from. I got better things to do than be an administrator. All right, one last chance. I know you're thinking it. Go ahead,
I
Dan.
got a question, Noji. What if you have to have a metal stand? Can you use a fiberglass or a carbon fiber?
To do what now?
The math.
Antenna.
Oh, for the mast? Yeah, if you have something other than metal for your mast, that's not a problem, because all you gotta do is take this wire, instead of, bonding it right here, do it right here on the, part of the antenna that's gonna be based. So for instance,
Okay,
like,
just run a wire up.
yeah, just run a wire up. Yeah, a lot of like taller antennas, the GP9, GP, 12, that sort of thing. All they have at the base is their ground and their radios, that's it. And so what you wanna do there is just simply tie it off at that base, so very same thing, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
30 seconds. 20 seconds.
10
10 seconds.
What's the material for your plate?
Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
Material for your plate.
Now, this plate right here, I got it at Home Depot. This is solid 22 gauge steel. I recommend copper, okay, but it really doesn't really matter in the long run. If you get 22 gauge steel for your plate, it's just fine. In fact, this very plate right here is not a bad ground plate for inside your house, especially if you don't have a really elaborate, towers, that sort of thing. Just a couple of antennas on your roof. This size of a plate will actually do really good. See, I just drilled a couple holes through here and just mounted this ground thing here. I also got that at Home Depot, drilled through and, put screws in it and so forth, and away I go. And it's really nice because it fits the 4 gauge just perfectly in here. 3 seconds. 1 second. This is, okay, thanks guys very much. Okay, turn the time back over to Al.
Hey, Noji,
Yes, sir, Dan.
just one comment.
Yes.
I'm with Salt Lake County Aries, and so although I come to this beautiful club as often as I can.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
But if you go to Salt Lake County Aries YouTube, I have a presentation on grounding, and it goes through what Noji talked about. So if you'd like to visit the Salt Lake County Aries YouTube page.
So Salt Lake County areas page?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. What was that?
I said a shameless plug.
Thanks.
Coke.
Carl?
I got one more question about that. Those,
Like, where are they
polyphasers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those things are rather expensive. Yeah, I mean,
That's true, these things are expensive.
and, you know, so you talk about some different ones. What's the cheapest one? Because, you know, they're out there doing pretty much nothing most of the time.
That's true, they're just sitting there doing nothing, they're just connectors. This Alpha Delta one cost me $50.
$50? You can buy 2 J-poles for that.
That's true, the J-pole cost me a good $35. But yeah, the polyphasers, I think, cost $65 or $70, and the Morgans are like $120, $110, something like that, so they're different. Unfortunately, this is only 13.
Yeah, we gotta find a place to get them cheap and buy them in bulk or something like that and make them available.
Gotta consider fire insurance.
What, fire what?
Fire insurance.
Fire insurance, absolutely, yeah. All right, that's it, I'm gonna turn it to Ellen, thanks.
In fact, you can take that.
All right, everybody voted, thank you. The vote was unanimous, they're back in office.
All right, thank you, Alma, no recount, huh?
No.
Fine. All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Harry now.
Hey, has anybody not got their ticket?
I almost got one on the way here.
I avoided that by control.
I ducked in 3 or 4 other ones.
I'm not ready.
All right.
You see him? I don't know what he was going for.
We don't have any children
Came up way behind me.
today. Albert, come on, draw. Since we don't have any children today, I need somebody to come up and draw. Okay, we got surprises here. We have a ARO membership, yearly membership. We have a club flashlight, a work light from Home Depot. We have a computer. It's a Windows computer. We also have, for Obofang, a signal stick. Our grand prize, we have a Focus J-pole and a dual band radio. So. Yeah. All right, last 3 are 950. No, it's not 950.
Here we go, right here.
All right.
Yeah, that didn't sound like a bunch of jealousy claps. I don't know. There we go. Show us what you got. Look it up. There we go. Thank you. Where's the real camera?
Last 3 are 899.
You know, he's checking.
Hey, I gotta check this one.
Yeah, please.
No, yours is 668.
No, 666.
Okay, we're good. Okay.
All right, cool. Up, stop. There we go.
891. We got a winner!
Come on down.
Taking the grand prize?
Not yet, not yet.
What are you gonna take?
This is a computer.
Is that part of the grand prize?
No.
I'd open it up and check it out first. It was a computer.
936.
Does it have to be in that order?
Any combination.
I already had that already.
Flashlight, Farmer Fred flashlight.
All right, hold it. There we go. Wow.
900.
The one after you.
All right.
Oh, we're here.
This one?
Yeah.
No, one of these over here.
Oh, the nice try though. All right, shut, hold up, get shut. Woo, there we go.
All right. Now for the one of the 3 water bottles, 909.
909.
I got a 6.
Somebody really doesn't want to water.
No, just keep it.
Oh, keep yours.
All right, hold it. There we go. There we go.
Okay, before I draw another one, everybody who won, then give me your ticket. Give me your ticket back.
Right. And we forgot to draw the grand prize first. Come get your ticket back.
Yes. Remember what the number was?
You got 2 more, 3 more to get back.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, it's mine. I want a water bottle.
You really wanted a Kenwood water bottle.
I would like that audited.
All right, last water bottle. I need 2 other winners to come grab their tickets. 916. Oh. We have a surprise winner.
Oh, no, I should have pulled that over here. All right, hold the ball up there. We go. Smile real big. Think of all the cool, refreshing water you're going to get.
All one cup. Had 891.
Who had 891? You want up and pick your ticket up? You'll deliver.
Here, throw those back.
Okay, this is for Pockets J. Cole. Now it's back. So everybody's now in the grand prize drawing. The Pockets J. Cole.
Ready?
No.
916.
10.
All right, here we go. Let's hold it up. There we go.
We have radio.
Oh,
This is for the radio.
9 0 1.
I told you it was a winner.
All right, hold it up. There we go. It's a good picture. There you go. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that again. There we go.
Here we go.
Want that to tell me what the winner.
All right, thank you, Harry, very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who participated and tossed in their tickets. And by the way, the radio is pre-programmed with a bunch of stuff from Utah County. And it's a Rativus radio, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it works really well. I have one myself and take it up to the mountains and it works like a wonder, so. Anyway, all right, with that,
Is that radio programmed?
yeah. it is. I think so. Yeah, if there's any doubt, bring it back to me.
Or program it yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty simple to program, so. All right. Well, guys, this is it. Now, normally, you know what I did? I forgot one more slide in this presentation. Darn it, but I'll show it to you. There it is. So what it is I'm gonna go to pizza after. I'm gonna go to across the street to Lisa's. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but they're pretty good. And so anyone who wants to join with me, no, you gotta pay for your own.
Be careful.
Why don't we draw a ticket, whoever's having it?
It was like,
Last meeting, we went over there for pizza, they weren't taking customers.
oh, is that right? So no dine-in?
There was this afternoon, but at this time, last time, they didn't.
Okay, if we go there and there's no dine-in, we'll play it by ear. Okay.
Buffets or nuts in there.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay, thanks, Harry. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Appreciate you being here. 7:30.